Now comes the fun part, the anticipation. Ashley said that she's not going to put it up in flashing lights, but somewhere there is a slide that says the task. So the syndicate task, before we reveal the task, Herman wants to explain a bit about some technology, the task.
Okay, what I'm saying now is not specific to this syndicate task, it's in general about all the syndicate meetings. The syndicate meetings that have occurred in person, to my knowledge, have all been very useful and good. But we still are having technical difficulties with the online video links participation. Now, those difficulties arise as a result of various factors. The one is that your computer isn't suitable. That's a hardware problem. Or your computer doesn't have the appropriate program. That's a software problem. Or that you don't know how to set the settings of your computer and its program. That is a settings problem. Okay? So there are hardware problems, software problems, and setting problems. And then there's also a problem that I have a son who works in the IT industry. And he says the most common problem that they have to deal with is called PEPCAC.
Which means?
Problem exists between chair and keyboard. Okay, now, all of those problems can be sorted out by doing a live video links connection to Shelley. Shelley, can you just show yourself, please, so everybody can see?
At the back?
Can you come to the front, please, Shelley, so we know who you are? If you email Shelley at aslencreative.co.za, this is the lovely young lady you will get in touch with. Shelley will do a live connection with you. If any of those things don't work, she will instruct you or help you in how to sort them out. As soon as it has worked, you can hear and see her, and she can hear and see you. It means everything is right. The hardware, the software, the settings, and the PEPCAC. And then if that works, when it comes to the time of your syndicate meeting, your syndicate leader will send you an invitation, you'll connect, boom, boom, there'll be no problem. As long as you haven't changed the settings in the meantime. So please don't do that. So will everybody please, before the next syndicate meeting, if they intend to meet online, before that, please do a live meeting with Shelley to make sure it works. But there is another problem in South Africa that we haven't dealt with and that Shelley can't fix. Yes, and that is bad internet connectivity. Okay, so if you've got a fiber line or a high-speed ADSL line, there's no problem. But if anywhere on the link between you and the remote place, there's a constriction or an overloaded line, or maybe a server there where there's load shedding and it's not working very well, the connection is not good. The main effect of a bad connection is that it's too narrow to conduct the video image back and forth. But mostly, even with bad connections, it is okay for a good audio connection. So if the problem is a bad or constricted or a poor or an intermittent internet connection, one can do a very satisfactory meeting by a telephone conference joining. So I want to ask Shelley to make available to everybody the South African number to phone to get into the Cisco video link system. And how it works is you dial that number and you get into the general video links meeting thing, and then you enter on your phone the number of the particular meeting space that belongs to your syndicate leader. So when syndicate leaders send out an invitation for meetings, the first thing is with a link for the live audio-visual connection, but also put there the number. My number is 5923 something 9, or I don't know, but it's something like that. And that number will then direct the telephone to your meeting. So there's the general number to get into the video links system, and then the specific number to get to that meeting space. So if Shelley will give everybody the general number, and then the syndicate leader give all the members of your syndicate your meeting space unique number. And so if you're struggling to get in, rather do it dial up by telephone. The person hosting the meeting can see, obviously, the video of everybody who's in the meeting on video, but also on the side can see the names of people who are connected by telephone. And you can just go, you can see, okay, you talk to the first person, you ask the second person a question, the third person might be on telephone, so you can't see them, but you can still hear them and they can hear you perfectly well. So I'm going to ask you please to do that so that our syndicate meetings can be a source of pleasure and excitement and learning as opposed to a time of frustration and irritation. Thank you, Julie.
Hi guys, okay, so unfortunately I don't have all the time to deal with every one of you at the same time. So if I can just ask if you pop me an email just with what time you'll be available, I'll make sure I'll make myself available, or one of my my colleagues will be available online and we'll test with you. All right.
Okay, thank you very much. Then they have put up syndicate lists at the back there, and there's also a syndicate list on the forum, but the two of them look completely different. The one on the forum has got the name of the syndicate leader in yellow, and then under that the names of all the people in that syndicate. Whereas the structure of the list at the back has got all of our names alphabetically, and then next to the name, it gives you the name of your syndicate leader. You see? So, for example, my name is there, I'm Edelin. Now, the one directly below me is Enslin. That gave Dr. Enslin the impression that he's in my syndicate, but he isn't. His syndicate leader's name is in the third column. All right. Having said that, the first workshop should have finished in its entirety by yesterday evening. I had my fourth syndicate meeting last night, but there were some people who still were not able to connect, and I think it was because of poor connectivity. So for that reason, I'm offering anybody who is still interested a further final syndicate meeting, which can be all by telephone, for anybody who wanted to participate Monday or Friday but was unable. I'm not sure yet what the time is, but we'll make that available. So anybody who still wants to get their certificate for workshop 1 but wasn't able to attend the syndicate meeting, we're going to make an additional one available, hopefully towards the end of this coming week. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks, sir. Thank you. Okay. Technology is a huge enabler and a huge frustrator as well. Right. So the task, it would have been flashing, bright red, emotionally distressing and all that, but it's not really. Before I show you what you have to do, some ground rules. Okay. The first thing is that when you leave here, the task will be on the forum, so you can go access it. The syndicate list, updated, is also on the forum, clearly visible. We have tried as far as possible to keep the core of each syndicate the same. Everybody who is registered for the full series of workshops this year, allocated to the same. We've also tried to make sure that the syndicates are multidisciplinary in nature and are convenient in terms of proximity and so on. Obviously, we can't satisfy everybody all of the time, but the idea really with the syndicate is that you want to be in one where you are uncomfortable. Okay? You want to be in one where you don't know anybody else and you know nothing about what they do. And the reason why, if you remember at the very beginning, I said the purpose of what we're doing today is not to teach you information, but to precipitate some thinking and engagement and debate. Maybe saying, this is the way we do it. Why do we do it that way? Maybe we can do it differently. All right. What do we need in terms of the syndicate? Well, there's an individual task, and that individual task has the same topic as the syndicate task. So what you will need to do is to submit to your syndicate leader your own personal syndicate task. Okay? And that is, the task is a motivated, reasoned, rational response to the question. I put down here on the piece of paper that it's 1,000 words. That's purely a thumbs up. I did that because people want to know how long must it be, how short should it be, or whatever. You need as much paper to provide a reasoned, rational demonstration that you were part of today, that you listened to what was going on today, and you thought about what was going on today, and you have ways of thinking about where we should be going in the future. That you need to give to the syndicate leader, and I would guess that you do that in about a week or so, but the syndicate leader will let you know. Then there'll be the syndicate meetings. The syndicate leaders, bless their souls, I'm sure the syndicate leaders didn't realize what they volunteered for when they took this on, but thank you very much. No, you may not resign. The syndicate leaders will put together, and the syndicate function is 1, maybe 2 meetings to discuss and debate and to argue and convince and to reason and to lock horns and bump heads and do all that kind of stuff. And then come up with a syndicate presentation. All right. At day 2, your syndicate, someone in the syndicate will present the syndicate product. Now, it's important that you do all those things that I mentioned, the locking horns and the debating and all that kind of stuff. Because if you look at the program for day 2, the judge is going to listen to evidence, and he is going to come to a verdict. And it might well be that he looks around and he says, I want that person from that syndicate to explain what happened. So if you're not actively involved in the syndicate, you're going to stand there looking a little bit silly, all right? So you need to be engaged, and you need to take ownership of the debate. Then you present the syndicate task on day 2, and the judge will go through, not to shoot you down, not to pass you or fail you, but to critique. And we will all critique, to say, well, I like that idea. I didn't think about that. In my experience, that's not going to work, so that we can evolve going forward. As I said, it may happen that the judge calls on somebody from a syndicate to motivate. Regarding pass or fail, the assessment, if you are here and participating today, and here and participating on day 2, you're attending, you'll get an attendance certificate. If you submit the individual task and you participate and contribute meaningfully to the syndicate task, you will then have met the requirements, okay? And then we will be able to say to UCT quite comfortably and happily that you have satisfied all the requirements, okay? The important thing is that your involvement at any point, the judge may decide, I want to know from you, I like you, tell me what happened, right? And if you're in that position where you can do that, then we've achieved the objective. Okay. It's not fair, it's not nice, it's not easy, but it's great fun. Okay, so, big breath. The topic, how can I, the law, and lawyers. Now I say I, the law, and lawyers, because many of us here are medical legal experts. We come from the health sciences. All right. So we cover the medical legal expertise, the professions, and the law. How can I, the law, and lawyers treat claimants in a way that is consistent with the values underlying the Constitution? All right. So go look at the Bill of Rights, go look at the values enshrined in the Constitution. Ask yourself, how I'm doing what I'm doing, does that, kind of accord with what the Constitution wants to achieve? All right. I'm sure no one has any questions about the syndicate task. It is. Herman has my phone number. he will make sure that he will act as the gatekeeper. So any question that he thinks is deserving of my attention, he will refer. Folks, seriously, please speak to the syndicate leader. Keep involved, keep engaged. This is not a pass or fail. It's how much did I put in and how much did I get out. Then lastly, I want to thank everybody who spoke today. Our speakers, Karina and her video, incredibly valuable, incredibly distressing, motivating, precipitating. John in his absence, Aisha Romani down in Cape Town for talking to the law. Thank you so much for that. Greg and Sharon for talking about quantification and the principles and values underlying that. Thank you to the speakers. And then lastly, thank you very much to all of you for being here.
Sorry, Trevor. Ashley told me I've got to come and tell you something because Trevor misspoke. It was not intentional. Trevor referred to a certificate of attendance. Remember, we've done away with the certificate of attendance. If you attend both days and you are in the healthcare professions, you will get a CPD letter, but you won't get a UCT certificate of attendance. The only UCT certificate will be a certificate of completion. You've attended both days and done the task.
Yeah.
I want to indulge one final point. SOMLA has now, under Judge Claasen's direction, embarked on the process of writing a concise document called a Code of Conduct for Medico-Legal Practitioners. That is going to be written by Dr. Henry Laram, Dr. Anton van der Boot, and Dr. Willem Moore. The three of them are going to write it. We have asked the members of the SOMLA board to make their suggestions to that trio for inclusion in the document. But all of the creative thinking that arises in the minds of practitioners on this course may contribute very valuably to that. So I'm asking you, in your syndicate meetings, when you come up with anything that you think is going to be of value for inclusion in the SOMLA Code of Conduct for Medico-Legal Practitioners, please make that part of your syndicate report. And just by way of example, we had one such suggestion today. It was the thing of doing a joint minute with somebody else, and then the one has got the payslips and the other one hasn't. And the issue came up about sharing payslips. That is one such principle, that all relevant information should be shared. Things should not be kept secret. That is one of the points, by the way, that Judge Claasen has already written for inclusion in that document. But because you are the people in practice and you encounter problems and frustrations, please let us know your thoughts for inclusion in that document. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. My apologies. Folks, that is the end of the day. Thank you very much. We'll see each other again in about a month's time. Enjoy.